Show. That's right. Welcome in, welcome back, folks, to a Notre Dame fans. Do not be fooled. And I have a serious philosophical and practical question for Notre Dame football to answer. Edition of the Always Irish Show. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Johnny out as well. Notifications on the way you alerted every time a new episode drops. I know you don't want to miss it. Twitter, search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysirishnd at gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want it. You can get it. The call-in lines 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Instagram, Facebook, Always Irish Inc. USA Today, Fighting Irish Wire. Read all about it. Patreon.com/Always Irish. Former Captain Mike Goolsby and myself breaking it all down. All right. I'm not a math guy. Only subject in class I ever really didn't get an A in. Okay? Through school, I'm not a math guy. That's what a calculator's for. In your iPhone, there's no bit of math that my iPhone can't do. As for statistics, they can be useful. They can be informative. They could also be misleading in ways. They could be all of these things at the exact same time. It depends on how you arrive at those statistics, what framework and lens you look at them through, how you position them. There's nuance to stats. I want to address some recent pushback I've gotten on a bunch of emails and a few, mostly emails, but a few direct messages on Twitter this week. Okay. And this has to do with the Notre Dame offense. I think all Notre Dame fans can agree the Notre Dame offense needs to get better. Everybody that has eyes should be able to agree on that if you're a Notre Dame fan and you tune in and watch all these games. But overall, Notre Dame has the 16th best scoring offense in America, 36.8 points a game. And I went into the season saying if we could get around 35 average, we should be in good shape. We ended up 36.8. And I do want to mention this notion to record this episode came to me. I'm doing it now. This is Friday. This is before the weight game. So whatever numbers there are from there aren't included in this, but it isn't largely going to matter, I don't think. So stick with me, okay? Pair that 16th ranking with the defense allowing under 17 a game and ranked 11th. And if you just pull up online or in the old days, pull out the paper and you see the Notre Dame as a top 20 offense and a top 20 defense, you're thinking, hot damn, Notre Dame's looking good this year, baby. Psych your mind, though. Psych your mind, okay? Like, if you're looking at how these games are playing out, it doesn't look and feel that way. And I get these emails saying, John, how much you going to complain about the offense? You know, you're in the top 20 overall, and the defense is near the top 10. How much are we going to complain about a 16th ranked scoring offense? I beg you. I implore you. Look at the nuance. Dig a little deeper. Walk through this with me. Walk through this exercise with me. The first 4 games against bad teams, Notre Dame, 42, 56, 45, 41 points. Add in USC's bad defense and the special teams and defensive plays. You got 48 on USC's bad D and 50, almost a million against Pitt. Okay? Now, what I define those numbers as is doing exactly what you should be doing against those type of teams and those type of defenses. Good job there. Good job. Here's where it gets serious, though. Look at the other 4 games. The ones against decent, real life, real world teams and defenses. Ohio State, 14 points. Pathetic. Duke, 21, and you needed every last second on the clock to get to that 21. Duke, 20. Or Louisville, 20. Clemson, 23. So you have 14 Ohio State, 21 Duke, 20 Louisville, 23 Clemson. And you won one of them against Duke, and then the other 3 are your losses. So against these real teams, real defenses, that's an average of 19.5 points per game. And again, you barely got by Duke, and then you lost the rest. So when you ended up facing any defense with a pulse at all, any defense from the real world of college football, 19.5 points per game. That's completely unacceptable. That's foolish. I don't care how many points you're going to pile up on Central and on Navy and on Narduzzi's head. I don't care. When Notre Dame faces real defenses, they have no answers. None. Not a good plan to start, not good execution of the plan to start, and then no pivot when it doesn't work. 19.5 points a game when you face real teams. It's just a failure. It's a failure. It's not good enough. Now, there are a lot of reasons why it isn't good enough, and that's not the point of this episode. That's a different one. The bottom line is it's not good enough. Every time Notre Dame's in a big game situation against a real defense, they have no answers. None. Like, not even close. Do not fall for that overall average number you're being sold and that overall ranking you're being sold. Do not fall for it, Notre Dame fans. It does not tell the whole story of this season. And I think some Notre Dame fans know that. But reality hurts. So it's a lot easier to convince themselves, look at this. We got 2 top 20 operations. Things are going good. Make some changes and we'll be even better. Whatever. I feel like some of these people know this reality, but they're trying to convince themselves otherwise to feel better about it. We are a joke, a total no answer having joke against any real defenses. And that's a real problem for me. That's a real problem. So I wasn't going to do this if I just have one message like this, but after a half dozen, I need to bring this up. Expand your mind a little bit, look at the nuance, and break out where we're scoring the points. You're feasting on teams that have no talent. It's not good enough. And it's really not fair to Notre Dame's defense that they try and hang in here in all these games and you don't support them. It's a joke. So I wanted to make sure we broke this out crystal clear. The only games you were in against really decent teams at all, 19.5 points a game. Come on, man. 19.5? That's rough. It's just rough. So I need people to know that. Now, let's transition into something else. Another thing I take issue with is the philosophical argument of continuity on the offense. I've been hearing and reading some Notre Dame coverage that says Notre Dame really shouldn't want to change OCs again after this year because then it would be 3 different years with 3 different OCs and you need continuity on a football team. Okay. You would have Reese, Parker, and whatever we're doing next. And there's instability there, and the need for continuity needs to be considered here. Continuity is a word that is, excuse me, a variation of continuing or a continuation, right? Continuity, continuing. Here's my philosophical question. Why would I want to continue something that isn't working, isn't close to good enough, and is bad? Why? That's what continuity means, continuation. Why should I have interest in continuing something that is failing us in the biggest moments, when it matters most, when your season's made or broke? 14 against Ohio State, 10 against them last year. You're a failure. That's embarrassing. Get serious about offensive football. Here's the other thing. If it was close to good enough, this argument for continuity, I'll listen. If it was close, like on the radar of close to being good enough, I could hear the continuity argument, but we're not even close. We're not even close. Here's how I look at it. If the highway, if we're going down an expressway of the mecca of the playoff and playoff contention and what an offense looks like, trending in that, like that highway, that road to that, Notre Dame's not on the road. You're not in the lane heading there. You're not one set of tires going off onto the rumble strip. You're not off in the ditch. You're 2 miles off in the wilderness in a field somewhere. You're nowhere near functional offense. You're nowhere near it. You're nowhere near that path. You can't even see the road to functional real-world offense from where we're sitting right now. And again, I'm recording this before the Wake game. If it happens that we scored 100 against Wake, I don't give a shit. It's Wake and they're terrible. My points here still stand. You could add that to increase the average against shitty teams that I don't care about. If that's the case, when you're seeing this, Notre Dame's nowhere near functional offense that's even in the real world. So I simply ask the philosophical question: who should want the continuation of what doesn't work and isn't close to working? I'm just asking. Now, a whole different episode would be all the different reasons the offense isn't where it needs to be, and what does it take to get there, and all the different pieces involved in that mixture. And we've talked about that a lot. But I'm just pulling back a little bit, asking, got to have that continuity. Why do I want a continuation of what is trending the wrong way? Like, it's a logical question. Give me an answer. You can't fire the OC because you'll lose continuity. Why do I want to continue something that's bad and getting worse and trending worse? I have no interest in continuing that. If you could even see that highway of decent offense from where our car is, I would entertain the argument. You're miles away, man. You're way off track. And you're trending further off track every time you play a competent defense. So, on a philosophical level, I ask, that word continuity means continue. I have no interest in continuing what is failing us. That seems logical to me. And And so I just, Notre Dame's in a tough spot. They're in a tough spot. And again, I'm recording this before the Wake game. It doesn't matter if we won the Wake game 100-0. The season's ruined, and it doesn't change my opinion on any of this. You needed to have a real offense to beat Ohio State and to not escape against Duke and to not embarrass yourself against Louisville and Clemson. When you had them, the further away from the Clemson game we're getting, the more mad I'm getting about it. Like, Dabo and Clemson were on their deathbed, and then you single-handedly went in there and resurrected the whole thing. And Dabo's got that Dabo swagger back. Jesus sent me to win these games, the whole thing. They were on their deathbed, and you literally gave them CPR and rebirthed the whole program and Dabo's whole Dabo thing. You let it all come back to life. We did that. We handed it right to them. I'm not okay with that. You shouldn't be either. So that's what I have for you on this episode. Number one is don't fall for that numbers trick. Who you're scoring the points against matters. Don't let anybody tell you it doesn't. 19.5 is what you scored in any game that of national import. 19.5. That is a failing offense, not a big boy offense. Okay? So that's number one. Don't fall for those numbers. Look at them. Look at what they really mean and where they fall. And then number two is, if you want continuity, I have to ask why you want this to continue. It's trending the wrong way. And I don't care if we scored 100 against Wake. It's trending the wrong way against any real team. Wake's not a real team. Tough questions, but I got to ask them. This is the shit that rolls around in John's head at night. Keeps me up. I need answers. What do you guys think?